Today I'm going to be travelling from the Serbian capital of Belgrade to the Bosnian capital of Sarajevo, but taking the scenic route, by road, by rail, by river and even on foot.
This is the fun way to come to Sarajevo.
Time for a quick stop at the gate of Drina and delicious fresh raspberries from the region. What a great start to a road trip. The next stop is a rock in a river. Almost certainly the most photographed house in Serbia.
It has to do with a Serbian folk hero called Kraljević Marko, or Prince Marko, and he was escaping imprisonment by the Ottoman forces, and he was on his horse. The horse's name was Šarac, and that means colorful horse. And there's quite a few stories about, the Kraljević Marko and his beloved horse, traveling and getting into all sorts of adventures, and this was no different. So he came with his horse down to the riverbank there, and he realized that he and his horse can't get across. So what Marko decided to do was to go up on that hill and throw a boulder into the river so his horse can jump across. And of course, Šarac jumped, and they made it over and managed to run away from the Ottomans. It's also said in the local folklore that you can see the hoof print on the stone, but I never went to check, so I don't really know for sure if that's true. The house itself is just a diving place where divers would congregate. It was created in the 80s. A couple of times the flood actually took the house fully from the foundation, so in the last renovation they just put cement there. As you can see, it's not the most scenic now with all that cement, but at least it's gonna hold any future floods.
This is the Zelenica viewpoint, from where you can gaze down over the Drina River and Bosnia. After a bit of a bone-shattering ride, it's great to be able to enjoy the fresh air and a stroll in the Tara National Park. The Tara National Park has almost 300 kilometres of alpine trails, and there are at least 40 brown bears sheltering in these dark and rugged forests. The Balkans really don't get more beautiful than this. The next part of the journey is briefly by rail, but this is not just any old railway. It's the Shargan 8, the only remaining section of a line that once used to cross the mountains from Belgrade to Sarajevo. This restored part of the line does a figure of 8 in order to climb the mountain. Hence, it's called Shargan 8. we're going to one of the most curious towns in Serbia. This is Kustendorf, also known as Timber Town. It was created 20 years ago by the film director Emir Kusturica for his film Life is a Miracle. It's a whimsical place where streets bear the names of the director's heroes. It's quiet most of the time, but really comes alive for an annual film festival. From here it's just a short drive to the Bosnian border, where we enter the entity known as the Republika Srpska, as defined in the Dayton Agreement that brought an end to the 90s conflict.
Welcome to Bosnia and Herzegovina.
Since 1343, the Dobran Serbian Orthodox monastery has welcomed pilgrims passing through the gorge of the river Zrav. The fresco of King Lazar and his family dates to the 14th century, and it was said that touching the eye of his son brought healing properties. The next main town is Visegrad, where Emir Kusturica has again been at work, this time creating a town that has never known war. From the most curious town in Serbia to possibly the most curious town in Bosnia. Befitting a city that has never known war, the architectural style is a complete mishmash. As well as Ottoman and Byzantine architecture, it includes a replica of the Deccan monastery in Kosovo, and it took just 69 days to build. Gavrilo Princip, the man who assassinated Franz Ferdinand and ignited World War I, is regarded as a local hero around here. The mural contains a strong message to the Austro-Hungarians, as Doris explains.
Our shadows will walk through Vienna, wander through the courts and scare good gentlemen. And you see the Viennese court up there as well in the back. A very ironic kind of message.
The final mode of transport for the day is taking a boat under the bridge on the Drina. The handsome 16th century Ottoman bridge over the river Drina was made famous by the Nobel Prize winning writer Ivo Andrić and is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Sadly though, the town and the river bore witness to terrible atrocities in both the Second World War and the conflict of the 1990s. The town's population has changed from predominantly Muslim to almost entirely Serbian Orthodox. It's an irony in this part of the world that some of the most peaceful places hide the worst histories. From Visegrad we skirt the deep gorge of the Drina River and head for Bosnia's capital as darkness descends over the hills. And welcome to Sarajevo. Now of course you can fly between the two cities, but honestly, why would you do that? Look at what you'd be missing. Funky Tours organise a number of different transfers to Sarajevo, so if you're coming this way, check out their website for offers. I'm now going to be making a number of films in Bosnia, so subscribe to the channel and I'll see you again soon.